Jones, it's a podcast about Indiana Jones. Every movie, 1 minute at a time. The Indiana Jones Minute.
All right, let's bob for apples. It's my favorite line in the whole cartoon.
You look just like Lucy when you say
Really
that.
scary.
You said exactly
furious.
like, yeah.
Wow.
By the way, I have a signed document in my hand saying that Jerry is not going to swear at all during Crystal Skull.
Oh, wow.
Let me guess.
Check that thing closely.
Notarized.
Yeah.
By the
What?
way, I asked Gerald Christopher Thomas Merlin Porter,
Uh-huh.
our father.
Yes.
Billy
Christy-
Goat
yeah,
Gruff
and
of
he-
the Porters.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, and he said that I asked him. I said, do legal documents all need to be notarized? And he said no.
Mhm.
He said there's certain he said there's certain things like a will needs 2 witnesses, and there are other documents. He said it depends from state to state, but it's not a guarantee that something is only official if it's notarized.
Oh, wait, did you then ask him if it's charming when a whatever 10-year-old girl is asking about things like notarization of documents and things, and because you can't argue
I
with
bet
that.
at this point, everybody listening is really, really curious what the heck we're talking about.
We haven't even said what show that we haven't said the name of the show. We haven't said the name of the show.
Why are they talking about
This is what happens when Jerry opens the
10-year-old
show.
girls? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they could use contextual clues. I mean, the time of the year.
I fear those contextual clues are going to lead them in a different direction, Jerry.
Oh, God. You owe me restitution. Welcome back to the Indiana Jones Minute. This is the podcast where normally we discuss the Indiana Jones films 1 minute at a time, but not only are we on hiatus between movies right now, but it's Halloween time. So we're here to talk with you guys about the Great Pumpkin Charlie Brown special from 1966.
Yay.
Well, anyway, I'm Tom Taylor.
I'm the Admiral of Halloween, Pete Mummert.
Gerald Christopher, not Schroeder Porter.
And we are joined by everybody's favorite sister, Christy Porter. Welcome, Christy.
Hey!
Hi there, yay!
Yay!
Good to be here, yay!
Yay.
Bobbing forever.
Yeah, last Christmas we came at you with a special about the Rudolph special, and now we're back with Peanuts and the Great Pumpkin, another classic. Am I the only one who hears this and sees the opening and everything and thinks that I want to be eating McDonald's and having a York peppermint patty? Or
Yes,
either
I would be
Mounds or,
drinking Coca-Cola and eating a Dolly Madison product.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Good one.
They were the original
Yeah.
advertisers for this special.
So you're all
Right.
hopped up on sugar over there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like
Sometimes
bouncing
you
up
felt
and
like
down
a nut,
in my
and other
chair.
times you didn't. Yeah. We should all be having Halloween candy right now.
Candy
Think
corn.
of that.
Who
There's-
says
you
we
know-
are not?
You know what's fascinating about the opening is it's a cold open.
Yeah.
It is.
It's a cold open.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's straight up Linus and Lucy, and they're walking to Linus and Lucy,
Yeah.
Yeah.
the
Yeah?
song. But did you guys notice what was different about this version?
There's a flute.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's a flute,
Yeah.
which I think sort of hints at like autumnal leaf rustling.
Damn, who are you?
Yeah.
Mi-
We'll get some of
mischief.
that spelled out
No,
later on. Yeah.
Yeah, I actually have in my notes. Did you guys ever see? There are 2 movies that I adore that are, I think, referenced or that remind me of this. I guess the first one came after, but The Swimmer. If you ever saw The Swimmer with Burt Lancaster, it opened like with autumnal leaves in upstate New York or outside of New York City, and it's got the flute, and it reminds me almost exactly of that.
Why would a flute be autumnal?
Well, it's kind of. I mean, I think it's more like the wind. It's a
Yeah.
woodwind, for starters,
No, it's not.
right?
Oh, wait a minute.
Well, it's not brass.
It's
By
got
the
a
way-
breeze blowing through it, like the
Talking
wind
about
Yeah.
wood,
tree.
I one thing absolutely blew me away about through this whole thing was that there was no Woodstock.
Oh,
And
my
I was
God.
I was
Oh,
completely
wow.
baffled, and I was like, "Did he die in the trenches? Like, what happened?"
I think they ate him for Thanksgiving last year. Unsettling.
Yeah, with the breadsticks.
Having grown up in the 70s and 80s, like I had all these Peanuts books and they all had Woodstock, but they were all published after 1970. And it turns out Woodstock wasn't created until March of 1966, but he didn't look the same and he didn't have a name or anything.
What?
And
Wow.
it wasn't until the Woodstock Festival in 1970 that he got his name.
Really?
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
So
I was
this is
gonna say, 'cause
4
he's
years
not in
before he
the,
even had a name.
He's not in the Christmas special, is he?
Right.
Who named him?
Charles Schultz.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
I mean, who? It's only one guy.
All right.
Is he? Well, is he missed?
Yes. Well, I missed him.
He wouldn't be
Yeah.
out at night anyway. I'm telling you, he's a bird.
He would have
Yeah,
flown
but he-
south too. He wouldn't even be
No.
around. It's the
I guess so, but Snoopy's
winter's changing.
when Snoopy's having an adventure, I like to think that Woodstock's around.
Yeah.
Well, wait a minute. Now, speaking of flying south and all this, where is this place that these?
My TV set.
Yeah, exactly. These peanutsers
Greater Cleveland,
live
obviously.
because
Yeah.
like it's a big town, a small town, because Linus picks up an apple off the ground and he takes a bite and then he throws it away. Which, by the way, I've never had that happen in real life and have it taste good. Which I
Right.
Have you
suppose
picked an
is-
apple up off the ground and not wiped it off at all and just bit into it?
Yes, I'm Pigpen.
Yeah.
But it never tastes good, which I guess makes sense. That's why you throw it away. But then
Right.
the very next thing is they stumble upon a pumpkin patch. And you're like,
Yeah.
okay, so did they live next to a farmer?
No, here's the thing.
Well, I've
I was-
got a lot of questions coming up about that.
I was very, very
Yeah.
clear on the fact that they were on a military base.
What?
Oh, yeah. Obviously.
What?
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
You look at those track houses that they're walking in between.
Uh-huh.
They're kind of modular, and there's not a lot of space around them. And there's open fields near them. But
Wow.
My
yeah,
God.
it's a military base. It's housing.
Couldn't
See, I
this
was
be
gonna-
like just like camp something or other that happens to have like an orchard
Yeah,
and like a pumpkin patch, and they're going to set up
Camp
the hay
Woodstock.
maze pretty soon or
Yes.
something? and
That's
it's, like,
right.
tourist
Fort
season
Woodstock.
and-
Yeah.
Yeah, Fort Woodstock.
Fort Woodstock.
What?
See,
You know, I noticed about like there's no perspective at all the way the cartoon is drawn. It's very, very medieval.
Well, not only that, like they walk in the sun, or the moon and the sun, like they walk right in front of it. It's just like
Yeah.
just as far behind him as the house.
So it's Tatooine.
Yeah.
It's true. It's the
yeah.
and the
Take that,
house
round
is
earthers.
like a rectangle, and you're like, is the house supposed to be fading into the back? Because it doesn't look. It's like super pre-Renaissance
Mhm.
yeah.
type of perspective on this stuff, which is charming.
Charming.
Well,
guess.
see, I took it a different direction. I was going to throw Tom a bone.
Oh,
And I was
thank
going
you.
to say I thought this was Connecticut.
Sure, why
Like,
not?
between Linus's conspicuous consumption and throwing out the apple, and then kind of the fall and the leaves changing, and
Yeah.
somewhere out in the hinterlands.
Huh.
You would think the joy or the ease of like living apparently like with an orchard in your backyard is you could take a bite of an apple, and if you're going to be a slob and not finish it, you just drop it on the ground, and then it returns to the earth and like makes a new apple tree and stuff, but he tosses it in the trash, or some
Yeah.
raccoon is going to get attracted to it and go nuts.
What's that drum when he tosses it in the trash, Jerry? that
Oh,
it's-
it's everything. Every single drum in every single cartoon is timpani.
Yeah.
Yeah,
With that
boom.
pedal, right? Boom.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know why they did that, though. Why is it timpani?
Um,
It's a really big apple. It's a really metal can.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, you can kind of, I don't know, that kind of resonated with me, I guess,
Yeah.
literally with that timpani. But like when you throw something into an empty metal trash can, it does have that kind of reverberating, like,
Yeah.
By the way, Jerry, you can't grow new apple trees from apples on the ground, or Tom. You can't.
Wait, why
You
not?
can't.
Stop
Why?
it.
They're all grafted.
They're all what?
What?
Get over
You
here.
and your
What?
military bases, and
Yeah.
you're ruining this.
Wow.
And bulldogs have to.
So
Oh,
Johnny
literally
by
Appleseed,
cesarean.
impossibility.
Random facts. Sorry.
Wait, how did
Wait,
Johnny
that's
Appleseed sow apples?
Well, he could. You can't. Linus can't.
Oh, so he was like magical.
He was that real
we're
guy
magical.
who lived in Indiana.
Okay.
Johnny Appleseed was a
Native
real guy
son.
who lived in Indiana.
And apparently grafted apple trees. That's
No,
why
he was-
his real name is Johnny Applegrafter.
He was German, you know.
Why do apples have seeds if you can't grow new apple trees
I don't
from
know.
them? That's
Listen,
stupid.
this is look. I'm going to tell you, this is exactly like the cartoon we're watching. I feel like grabbing my sister
Yeah.
and saying, "You blockhead! You're not going to start talking like that again."
I got my reputation to think of, you know.
Exactly. Oh no, you don't. Not this year. They're
You're on
apple
restitution.
grafting again.
If you try to hold my hand, Christy, I'm going to slug you.
Yeah.
They're going grafting for apples.
It is funny though, because Linus, like, they're walking towards the pumpkin patch, and they're just completely blank faced. And then as soon as he sees the pumpkin patch, he immediately kicks a pile of leaves and starts to smile.
Yeah.
Hmm. He's
Yeah.
feeling it.
Like this is his special place.
Yeah.
This this whole thing is just a series of little vignettes.
Oh,
Yeah.
Like
Welcome.
I put
Welcome
together.
to the story.
It's almost
Well,
like
it's-
like 3 or 4 paneled little stories that
I was
appear
just gonna
daily at the
say
back of
that.
the thing, yeah.
What's the name of that?
And that there's like a sort of a twist at the end that's like the kids react like an adult, and that's
Yeah.
the turnaround, or that's the punchline, or the irony.
That was often the punchline of a Peanuts.
It's
Peanuts
really
Yeah.
strip.
it's really weird.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, let's not spoil it yet. Let's.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just
Yeah, the twist is they're all
We-
30.
For if you haven't seen the show though, yes. If you haven't seen this show though before, Linus and Lucy are walking out to the pumpkin patch, and Lucy is ordering Linus because she's absolutely horrid. She's ordering Linus to select the biggest pumpkin he can find.
Yeah, he's a little kid.
And yeah, he's smaller than she is, and
Yeah.
it's interesting because he leaves his security blanket in the pumpkin patch.
What?
oh
Get out of here! Really?
well, no wonder he's so anxious the rest of the
Yeah.
show.
The rest of the
He's a
year.
mess.
Because he's carrying it out there, and then he comes back with the pumpkin, and he doesn't have the blanket anymore.
Oh wow.
You know, you'd notice he doesn't mention the Great Pumpkin until he doesn't have his blanket. So maybe he's like either snapped or he's trying to compensate for
Yeah.
the security that he's lost. There's some new magical thing to think
He
about.
probably
from
wrapped
having
it around
life.
his belly because actually that guy can really stow a blanket. He always has it with him. You just
Yeah.
don't see it.
That becomes very multi-purpose with him.
it's true.
He's a real blanket store. Are we allowed to say that?
I don't know.
family show.
Hey, I didn't
Yeah,
say it.
I'm not sure. Yeah, it's
Look,
a Porter did though.
Yeah.
What's I love the message, which is first pick the largest pumpkin, and then it makes the trip home hard, right? And like they
Mhm.
can't. First of all, Linus can't get it through the fence.
Well, it does for Linus. It doesn't for
Yeah,
Lucy, who
that's
just orders
true.
him to do it all.
That's
Yeah.
right. And then the pumpkin rolls over Linus, and he gets that kind of like the division signs above his head, and he sticks his tongue out, and it's super creepy and weird.
Yeah,
And then he gives himself this hernia.
Yeah.
And then you're like,
Uh-huh.
okay, so it's greed. That's what it
Yeah.
is. It's
Mm.
greed. And in this case, it's even better. It's, as you said, Pete, it's ordering the greed.
Mhm.
But I don't know. It doesn't pay. Or I should say there's a price to be paid for being so greedy. And then the best part about it is, of course, at the end, Lucy carves it open, and then he goes, "Ah!" And he screams like an adult.
yeah.
It's really creepy. He's
Yeah.
like, "Oh!"
You didn't tell me you were gonna kill it.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's exactly like real life. All of
But
it.
speaking of paying the price, that raised a question for me. Who owns the pumpkin patch? Is this like one of those things like we have in the city where you go to a place like a corner lot and there's
Yeah.
a guy selling pumpkins and they just took it? Or is this like, did Linus grow these pumpkins himself just for this moment?
I was just
Oh,
Pete.
maybe.
I was laughing because you're like, I'm sure it's one of those urban gardens.
Yeah.
They're trying to it's wherever Peanutsville is undergoing a renaissance, urban
Well,
renewal.
do pumpkins grow wild?
They do, but if they do, they're called squash.
And then
Ah.
you can't grow new ones from the seeds.
Oh,
You
yeah,
know,
you
they're
gotta graft
plentiful
them.
inside.
No, you know what's really really weird
That
about
was
this?
actually my comment. Where did did Linus actually think New Pumpkins came from? Like we're
And
just going to keep all this.
he's been through enough. He's been through enough Halloweens to have invented like a Santa Claus type guy about it, but he's never carved a pumpkin or never knew that you cut the things open and cut them up.
Yeah.
It's really who told him the story.
That was one of my questions. I don't know where he has really developed quite a lore here, and
Yeah.
Well, we'll get there.
night.
Well,
Yeah.
so as far as the pumpkin patch, at first I thought it was his neighbors. Like they lived next to a farm or like a military agricultural depot.
Sure.
And
Pumpkin Depot.
but now
yeah.
now I think, I mean, we're jumping ahead a little bit, but I actually think it's Linus's pumpkin patch and he's been working on it.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I was wondering, like, it's kind of a
Yes.
chicken and egg question. Like, did they move near a pumpkin patch because he wanted to be like celebrate his love of the great pumpkin, or did he grow it himself?
The child psychologist recommended that they live near a pumpkin patch to get him over his bizarre fever.
After they went to on the second meeting, they discussed his hair.
That's right.
You know what? It'd be really best if the family lived near a pumpkin patch.
Yeah, go move near a
What
pumpkin
is
patch.
going
Just
on?
give the kid a hat.
What's going on with his hair?
He's like I said, he's like 50 or 60 years old.
That's true.
Yeah, they all are.
Yeah.
Charlie's old. Charlie's bald.
Yeah.
I
we'll
don't know
get to
what
that.
he is. Is he?
Yeah, we'll get there.
We'll get there. I was wondering
I
if
guess.
Lucy could actually see the swirlies over his head. So when Linus falls
Oh.
down, does
Hmm.
are those actually suspended in the air over his head, or is it just meant to convey that to the audience?
I think that's like Tweety birds floating around your head
Yeah.
when you get hit with an anvil or something.
Well, nobody can
that
see
makes me
those.
miss Woodstock again.
I always wish I could generate those. That'd be great. Like when you're really like mad or upset or freaked out or something, just like have like all that
You didn't like hit your
toaster
head
smoke coming
a
out of your
lot
head.
when you were kids. So then you didn't try to make them come out, did you, Tom?
No, it wouldn't have to just be from a contact thing. You'd just be like, "Oh, you're making me so mad," and just like just a bunch of smoke comes out of my head, like out of the top of my head, not like an ear thing. That's
Oh,
cartoonish.
not like the the bowl.
Well, Pete, you said something a minute ago, Pete, that was really disturbing. You called him Charlie.
Yeah, Charlie.
And you're like, who's like, because everyone else is Linus or Lucy or
Right.
Schroeder or Snoopy,
Right.
but it's always Charlie
It's always
Brown.
Charlie Brown. Yeah, when
Or
I put
Charles.
Charlie,
Or Chuck.
I thought that was really weird. Yeah.
Well, okay, that's
He is
Peppermint
Chuck.
Patty, right?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
only
Marcy,
Peppermint
yeah.
Patty, and that's
And Marcy.
because
Marcy calls
That's
him
true.
Charles.
Marcy calls him
Marcy.
Charles.
That's because
Yeah, she
they
called-
averaged them
and
together.
Chuck.
Well, they averaged
Yeah.
them together, yeah. But they
Yeah.
even
They
say
averaged them,
in
that's
one of
true.
them, of all the Charlie Browns in the world, you're the Charlie Browniest.
Yeah,
Not in this one,
I
but
use that all the time.
yeah.
But do you think it's possible that Linus invented the Great Pumpkin story because they lived near a pumpkin patch? Like he just kind of gravitated towards what was at hand?
I had like imaginary friends and stuff like that, or like when I would be like taking a poop in the downstairs bathroom, there'd be like a little tiny guy who lived in the radiator that I would talk to while I was pooping. But like I wouldn't
Jinx.
expect anybody else to like celebrate that or have like I wouldn't be mad at them for not believing in that, and I wouldn't wait for it every year and then ruin my Halloween to like hang out by the radiator or something. So like on the one hand, yeah, kids make this stuff up. On the other hand, it's like, why is he's so devoted and like devout and like proselytizing about the Great Pumpkin?
Well, but and he just what's weird is he just ripped it off. You're like, so it's Santa Claus, but the Great Pumpkin, and he's omniscient in the same way, and then he dogs Charlie Brown for believing in Santa
Yeah.
Claus, and you're
Right.
like, listen, I mean,
Well,
does he do this every year?
It seems like it.
Is Linus
they
the one
do.
that read the Bible story in the Christmas special?
Yeah.
I have a question
Oh,
with
yeah,
that. Of
Christmas
course
is
he's
all
the
about
one.
Charlie
I'm
Brown.
sorry. Yes,
Yeah.
he is.
Well, that's was it him or Schroeder? Because for some reason
Schroeder, they never
He's
give
like,
him that
is
kind of
Linus just
Schroeder doesn't
Is
get
Linus
involved.
just-
Schroeder.
always like? Is he going to pick up any religion that swings by him? Like, is he kind of like the opposite of Indiana Jones?
Well,
Like,
No,
does he
he's,
pick up every religion?
so Linus, the first time that they mention it in Charlie Brown's around, and Linus is telling him right before that red suit guy who says ho ho ho.
Mhm.
Uh-huh.
Right.
Right after that, rather, Charlie Brown says denominational differences.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
clearly implying that Linus is not a Christian, which I can't reconcile with that speech he gives. And
No. No, Linus and basically all these characters are kind of steeped in probably Charles Schultz's, Christianity.
Yeah, he was very religious. Yeah.
But what's weird is they bring up denominational differences, and then later in the same scene, I think it's after like he had a run-in with Lucy or something, Linus says, never discuss politics, religion, or the Great Pumpkin. So it's like religion and the Great Pumpkin are two
That's
different
true.
things.
It's a-
Like they're
yeah,
not,
that's
it's not
true.
a denominational thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Okay.
in 1981, there was actually something called the Great Pumpkin Defense. So we'll
What?
get there.
My
It's
God.
true.
That's a teaser.
I'm sorry, but we'll get
Oh,
there.
man.
From a
I guess we
really
will, my
famous
God.
analytical philosopher from Calvin
Oh.
College.
Nice.
I like that Lucy comes over and like berates Linus. He's just sitting there trying to write his letter to the Great Pumpkin. And the girl with the plaid bow in her hair,
Oh,
Frida.
yeah.
it turns out is Patty. Her name's Patty.
Really?
She's like a pre-peppermint
Yeah.
Patty.
Yeah, she
What
is.
about
yeah,
Frida?
she
She's
is.
Yeah.
Frida.
There's
no,
both.
Frida's somebody
I think
else?
Frida shows up later.
Yeah. Wait, is Frida the one with the naturally curly hair? There's one
That's
who's always
Christy.
like talking about her naturally curly. That's Professor Frida Porter. But anyway, she shows up and it's like every time she shows, she's just like, she's like, you're a total weirdo. Why are you ever writing to the Great Pumpkin? And I want Linus to be like, who are you and how'd you get in my house?
Yeah.
My sister can yell at me because she lives here. But how'd
Yeah,
you get in
yeah.
here?
That's true.
Take your bow and get out of here.
Well, we're skipping an entire scene.
Which one?
Nah. Oh yeah.
The whole like Lucy and with the football and
Well,
just
we
Charlie
before even
Brown
that,
kicks
we're
her.
Oh,
skipping
yeah.
the whole opening, the whole beautiful title sequence.
That's true.
Yeah.
which is gorgeous. It's like right out of a German expressionist film.
I was just going to say that.
Wonderful, and it's got the Vince Guaraldi music and
Yeah.
Thank you, Christy.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
They're very scared though of all those things, aren't they?
Yeah, it's weird. They're terrified.
It's not that scary.
Well,
Yeah,
So
they see
they-
like ghosts.
You know what's
and-
interesting? They like all the bats come out running towards you, right, in the title sequence.
That's
Yeah.
Scooby-Doo.
And they come flying out. It is Scooby Doo. That's true.
Oh.
But you look at
Yeah.
the house, and is the house just dilapidated and it's on their military base, or is it haunted and the neighbors just keep it that way for this time of year?
Yeah.
Just like once a year that house is in vogue.
Or they put it up in the pumpkin patch that's really just there as a tourist thing in the fall. And it's
Oh,
like the
yeah.
haunted house that
Oh.
you pay to get into.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Linus is just stealing a pumpkin.
Right. Hey, kid.
Right.
I don't care if you
Nobody
live
seems to
right
mind.
there. You got to pay for that thing. Yeah.
It's also interesting because there's a different crew that's here. Right? We're missing Pigpen.
Yes.
Oh.
Oh, right. Yeah.
No
yeah,
Peppermint
Yeah.
Patty, no Marcy, no Pigpen.
Yeah,
No
they're not in
Frida.
the picture yet.
Yeah.
No Frida.
But Schroeder's there with his Daniel Boone hat on over his ghost costume.
Oh, yeah.
That's him?
Is that
I believe so.
Wow. That's
you
funny.
know what? I think later I have to check, but later I think that might be Pigpen.
No, I think that's Schroeder. I think Pigpen's just you just
Dusty.
know him by the cloud. Yeah.
Oh,
Okay,
Pigpen
yeah.
does show up later.
Oh, you're
He does,
right.
yeah.
It is
Yeah.
Schroeder. Yeah, you're right.
But so were they trick or treating is this from the year before?
Yes.
Okay.
I think opening credits can be considered non-canonical, Pete. I think they're just sort of a visual introduction, to let people know that you're watching a television
I'll let
program.
that go then. Okay.
Yeah, and then we get Snoopy, who's helping out. He's got the one leaf that comes down, and he blows it over to Charlie Brown's pile.
Mm-hmm.
And Snoopy is sort of like, this is like sort of the running theme throughout Peanuts and throughout all the Charlie Brown things. Like, Snoopy is a good dog, and he's a good pal of Charlie Brown's.
Mhm.
But he can also be absolutely part of the problem and not have Charlie Brown's back. And
Yes.
he's very frustrating that way. And as a
Yeah.
kid, which I am, I'm like maybe 6 or something right now watching these things.
Yeah.
That's very frustrating to me. And it makes me want to punch everybody except for Charlie Brown. Because, you're like, oh, thanks, pal. He's a nice little moment between a boy and his dog. But later on, Charlie Brown's going to be, I forget if that even happens in this one. I don't think they have that kind of interaction in this one. But like in the Christmas one and stuff, like Snoopy's just sort of doing his own thing, and he doesn't really do anything to help Charlie Brown. He's having a hard time and stuff.
Sure.
And it's like, Snoopy, come on, everybody, come on.
See, I think I had the opposite effect. Is I think something a little more insidious might be happening here.
Uh-oh.
Whoa.
I think because I idolized Snoopy. I adored Snoopy.
Sure.
I had like this little Snoopy stuffed animal, and you could go down to the store downtown and buy like little outfits for
Oh,
it
yeah.
and stuff. But the fact that Snoopy also joins in on the fun at Charlie's expense on occasion kind of gives you permission as the viewer to look down and to make fun
That's
of Charlie.
terrible.
Oh, never. No, I won't do it. You can't make me.
Pete, I
Wow.
love it. So sinister for Halloween.
Really?
You know, I'm with you.
He's got
though,
a beard
Pete.
all of a sudden.
Like exactly. Snoopy is always hands down my favorite. I hate it.
Yeah.
I hate every one of these kids. I hate them all.
Yeah,
You don't
Yeah, I
hate
do.
Linus.
But Snoopy,
I
love.
don't hate Charlie Brown. I like Charlie
I
Brown.
No,
like
I,
Charlie
I mean,
Brown.
I don't actively hate Charlie Brown, but he's frustrating. It's very, very difficult to watch every single thing he does. He undermines himself, and everyone else undermines
A lot of
him.
self-sabotage.
And you're
Yeah.
constantly there's a lot of self-sabotage, and he's not stupid. I mean, he's reflective and pensive. And that almost makes it worse. He knows what's happening to him. He knows the world's against him, and it's awful. And I don't know
It's
why the guy
horrible.
is still alive.
Yeah.
But isn't that
mean-
enough to? Isn't that like a big plus
Yes.
in his favor that he's like he can't keep him down? He's sort of indomitable. He's going to keep going.
That's true.
and
I
That's
love that
a
about
great
him. Yeah.
point.
He always gets right back
You're
up.
right.
Yeah.
You're right, and that is great. And you're right, Tommy. I think that is the silver lining here. But
But is Charlie Brown is because is he? I think these are sort of told from his point of view, and like one of the questions that I'll have later in this is what is going on with Snoopy? Is Snoopy actually doing, and how much of that is Charlie Brown imagining it? And I
Oh,
also
interesting.
like, since this is all told from his point of view, is literally every person on Earth, including every adult, actively trying to humiliate Charlie Brown all the time, or is it possible he's paranoid?
You're
and we're
breaking
getting,
my heart over there, Pete.
like an
Yeah, really.
he's paranoid.
He's paranoid.
He's just. I mean, maybe he's. Yeah, we act
kind of
like.
an
I mean,
unreliable narrator.
yeah, maybe he's delusional. I mean, we think
like
Linus
thing-
is, but
In this one, yeah, Linus is.
yeah, in
kinda-
this one, Linus is
Linus is delusional.
Charlie Brown.
Because even Linus is standing here just patiently leaning against a tree waiting for Charlie Brown to finish the pile, and the second it's finished, Linus comes in and destroys it
Yeah.
by jumping in it with
And
his
I mean,
sucker.
it would be fair to say Linus is Charlie Brown's best
Oh, yeah.
friend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
so then
that's,
tell me why.
That's what
Why
And he
Linus.
just
is-
Charlie
stabs him in
Brown's
the back.
response when he says, "Never jump into a pile of leaves with a wet sucker." Charlie Brown makes a fist
hmm
and threatens him.
I'll give you a wet sucker, you son of a. Yeah.
But that's what stinks. He just makes the fist. He doesn't use
You wanted
the
him to
fist.
get pounded for jumping.
Well, we
in-
don't want him to resort to actual.
We don't want to.
fisticuffs.
Yeah, we
But
don't
how
want to
far
encourage
can you
violence.
get
Oh, dear.
pushed?
Okay, take a breath. Take a breath.
We're already at it's 1966. I mean, I where is this in the chronology? I know it's pre-Woodstock, but you're like, he's already been dogged for Christmas, right? He's been
Yeah.
dogged
Yeah.
for thousands of comic
Yeah.
strips.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
just saying he's got a breaking point. And if you look at the end of this cartoon, listen, it ends on a bridge. I'm just saying the last shot's on a bridge.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I never caught that.
Well,
Seems
he
like it's a
wouldn't be the
wonderful
only
life.
one with some strange threats. You know, Lucy also shakes Linus for writing to the Great Pumpkin, and she says, "I'll pound
Yeah.
you."
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
it comes out of nowhere.
yeah.
You know, he was
Yeah.
just doing his thing at the kitchen
Well,
table.
Is she
and
the
she
only
comes
one?
out of nowhere right here. Like she's a complete non sequitur. Like
Yeah.
they're sitting here and Linus destroys the leaf pile, and Lucy just walks up and says, "Hey, would you like to kick this football I got?"
Yeah.
And it's just like it's
Remember
a
that thing we
complete
do?
like yeah, it's like an old silent movie gag where it's just like, oh, this is funny, let's put it in.
Yeah.
Like it has absolutely nothing to do
No.
with anything.
Right.
She just randomly walks up and
Well, like, did they
Yeah.
have a neighborhood football team, or did they play for Navy since they're on the military base?
Yeah.
They're the military police adjunct team or something.
It makes it
Yeah.
sound like they have a team or something. Where all like
Well, we know
no
they
one
have a
ever says,
baseball
"Hey,
team.
go long." It's only kicking the ball,
That's
and so
true.
they're not even. It's not like try and kick it through the the crossbars, Charlie
Right.
Brown.
Yeah, it's just try to
Just
kick it.
Yeah,
kick it.
just
Yeah.
try and kick it. Which, by the
Well,
way,
she
from
says place kick.
yeah, but you do. I mean, you're doing it that well. That's true. Maybe it's
Wait,
just
what?
she does. It is a place kick. So I mean,
Yeah.
I'll tell you what it is. That's what you would do to start off the game, and the whole point is because he never can kick the ball, his life has never started.
He's never started the
Yeah,
game.
he's never started. He's just the game. There's no real time for Charlie Brown. It's always preseason
Yep.
because he's
Right.
he's essentially he's a loser, and that's what's so hard to take. And the question I was going to ask earlier is, Snoopy's my favorite and the greatest, I think, and he's the coolest. I mean, he's Joe Cool. He's
by
the
far.
coolest.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Does he know that Charlie Brown is a loser?
I think he loves Charlie Brown, and I think he appreciates Charlie Brown. I don't think he thinks that Charlie Brown is a loser, but I think that Snoopy gets caught up in his own stuff and can't always be bothered or something.
Yeah, I'd say that.
Like he's
too.
just kind of got his own thing. He's like, okay, I'm decorating my house to win a prize. I can't worry
Yeah.
about you ruining Christmas
Yeah.
or
Right.
something. Yeah.
I never thought that Snoopy was. He's supposed to be Charlie Brown's really great pal, but I never see that.
Yeah, but you know
Ever.
what? That's the whole point. It's but for the silence of others.
Yeah.
But if Snoopy's all in Charlie Brown's mind, like it's kind of it's an interesting take on how fragmented his thoughts are, because sometimes his thoughts are.
Are you saying there
mildly
is no
supportive.
Snoopy? No,
No,
there's,
there's a
Snoopy.
Snoopy, but I'm saying that some of the things I feel like I never thought this reading the comics, but I feel like in this particular special, it seems like they're trying to say that Charlie Brown is the one that's imagining Snoopy's adventures.
Oh, like with the World War One.
Like he
Narration,
narrates what Snoopy's doing. Yeah, like
See, that's I
kind of like a Calvin and Hobbes situation.
Yeah. See, I kind of read that as like they almost chatted about it earlier off screen or something. Like he's got this closeness to his
Yeah.
dog, and he kind of gets
Yeah.
what he's doing. He's like, "Oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
Snoopy. He's being the World War One flag."
Yeah, I actually
he's doing
agree
this.
with that
He's-
one.
Yeah, he's down in France.
I
Yeah.
like that better. Yeah, I like.
But
that
but the other kids see it. They're like, "That's the dumbest costume I've ever seen." When he comes in at the World War, so he clearly
Yeah.
isn't. It's either all the kids, fantasize about Snoopy's adventures, or
Mm.
I mean, they all see
Collective
it.
Or it's-
hallucination.
Yeah,
or it's
collective
like in you see it from
hallucination.
Charlie Brown's eyes, and he looks like this super smart flying officer. But if you look at it from the other kid's eyes, he's wearing like this really bad, like homemade hat with some homemade goggles.
He's
and
a
he looks
dog with a
terrible.
hat.
Yeah,
That actually reminds me that when Peppermint Patty comes along, she doesn't even recognize that he's a dog. She just calls him the kid
That's
with the big
right.
nose.
Yeah, that's hysterical.
I mean,
Oh
they're a little confused about Snoops.
But she does. I mean, what's interesting about Peppermint Patty is she just walks through the world as if it's hers.
Mhm.
Yeah,
And that's
Kinda everybody in this does.
And I mean, other than maybe Pig Pen, who I think that's kind of one word. I didn't think his his surname was Penn.
let's name him
Mr. Penn.
Yeah, Mr. Penn. But for Peppermint Patty, I mean, it's kind of like Charlie Brown is two words, and then Peppermint Patty. Everybody else is just one word. And so I'm wondering
Mhm.
if you have a two-word name, then do you view the world differently? And with Peppermint
Mm.
Patty, as the case here, as you said, like she calls him Chuck.
Yeah.
No one
Yeah.
like nothing really gets to her, and
Right.
she doesn't see Snoopy as a dog.
Mhm.
Although Linus and Lucy have 3 names.
Oh,
If
you're
you
right.
go by the Van Pelt.
Right.
Does Van Pelt count as
Mm.
2 names?
Well, probably. I guess.
I
not.
don't. You know
Well,
what?
maybe, I
That's.
don't
I
know.
feel like that's like that. Like Wikipedia stuff.
That's in
No,
the,
that's their
that's in the
name.
comics, though.
I dig that it's
Yeah.
their name, but do they ever say Van Pelt in the cartoon?
I think
Well, they do in the comic strips.
They do in
Yeah,
the
they
comic
probably
strips.
do.
All right.
Yeah, yeah.
what's weird is Charlie Brown's last name is Brown. His name
Yeah.
is Charlie Brown. It's like if
True.
everybody called you Jerry Porter or Pete Mummert.
Yeah,
Well, that's what I
that's
was
true.
saying earlier. Is
I
he's
guess so,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, he's
Because nobody says Sally Brown.
no.
No.
It's not like it's his first and middle name or something. It's his first and last name.
Yeah.
Well, he's singled
That's
out.
I guess so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's singled
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
Which I'm looking at this right now, and I wanted to know what is the symbolism for his shirt. Everybody's shirt is very specific, and they're all different colors. You know, each person has a different color, and I'm looking at Charlie Brown's shirt is famous, and I love that dude from was it Urban Dance Squad wore it in the video for Deeper Shade of Soul. But what is his shirt symbolize?
It looks like it looks like a mean monster mouth.
Yeah, big mouth coming to get you.
Oh,
Yeah.
It's the ups and downs
Which
of
I think
life,
is how he
Jerry.
kind of views the world.
It's a chart of his experiences.
See, I
It's a
think
never-ending loop that goes around him, and it's up and down constantly.
wow.
Black
you
as
know
night.
what? I actually think he's cracked
Oh,
in the
Oh,
middle.
like Humpty Dumpty.
Yeah, he's like
yeah.
like he's just cracked in the middle.
He thinks he
'Cause
has a
he-
dog that can fly airplanes.
Yeah, he's broken,
wow.
and it's probably all the kids in the whole town that breaks him.
Well, he like when Lucy offers to have him kick the ball, and at first he suspects her,
Yeah.
and he says, "Yeah, I'm not buying that." And he says, "All you want to do is you want to pull it away so you can see me land flat on my back and kill myself." And I think it's really crazy how fast he escalates that.
Right. Like he's gonna get up from falling down and go and kill himself somewhere else, like in some other manner. Like I've had it.
Or that
That's it.
or that it's just like the falling down is going to kill himself,
Right.
and she's going to take joy from the fact that he's
Yeah.
now
I
died.
finally
in front
killed
of her
Charlie
eyes.
Brown.
When my son William was watching it with me today, and his response to that was, "I bet she's not even a real licensed therapist."
She's
That's
overcharging those nickels. You know what's amazing about Lucy? And I only noticed this after watching it 1,000 times, but I watched it last year, I guess, on Halloween, while I was giving out candy. Lucy's sitting in front of the TV, and she's holding the TV guide, and she's on the cover of the TV guide.
What?
Yeah,
Oh my God!
Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
but the version of her on the cover does not have her reading TV guide, so it's
Oh,
not an
that's
infinite
too bad.
recursion,
well,
unfortunately.
forget it then.
Yeah.
But that raises a huge question: are these kids famous?
No.
Like, do they know that they're famous because she's on the cover of TV Guide? Do they know they're living a reality show and they're all kind of living their catchphrases and they do their special things because they know they're being observed?
Maybe
That's
they
pretty
know
sly.
that they are comic strip characters, but so having her on the TV guide as like a TV special is a different thing. Like they're moving beyond that or something. That's the next phase of their existence.
Snoopy
It's like,
would
hey, they
know.
made a TV movie of us. That's cool. Like we're just cartoon characters. We're comic strip characters, but now they made a TV movie of us.
But it's not making her happy that she's reading that TV Guide with
Nothing makes her
herself
happy.
in it
Yeah.
because
That's right.
she's really angry at her brother.
I
Yeah.
would. You know what? I
She
was
throws
gonna.
Snoopy.
This is for you, Tommy. I think you have the greatest chance of answering this affirmatively.
Wish me luck, guys.
Do you know anyone in life like Lucy?
This is a snide way of talking about older sisters, isn't it? Hey,
And younger sisters, as a matter of fact.
wait a minute.
I will just say, sure. There's some cranky people out there who shake a fist every once in a while, who get in your business for no damn reason,
I'll pound you.
who you love in
Yeah.
spite of it all. Yes. Yes, Jerry.
By the way, if you're listening to this and you haven't seen the special, we did skip over the thing at the beginning, so you might be wondering what we were talking about with the signed document.
Oh, right.
Lucy had told Charlie Brown that he could kick the ball because she had a signed document saying she wouldn't pull the ball away.
Right.
And then he runs to kick the ball and she pulls the ball away and he falls on his back and does not kill himself.
No.
But then she says, "Oh, curious thing, I didn't have it notarized."
Well,
So,
so
you know what's
does
sort of cool about that whole gag is that I think this is the first time it's ever happened in any of these specials, but it was a running gag from the comic strip.
The comic strips.
what's the pivot point here for Charlie Brown? Does he have a fetish for signed documents? Because
No,
because
he's
No,
you-
in
just-
as
the
you
I mean,
mentioned-
60s, they didn't sign too many documents. I'm just kidding.
No, just put a big X on it.
It sounded fancy to
Squirt
me
of
when I
blood.
was 6.
It's yeah, totally. Yeah,
No, I mean they've been through this over and over again. She's always got a thing.
she's always got it. Yeah, but
she always
this
tricks him
time-
into
Yeah.
pulling the thing away, and this time she's like, no. I signed this thing saying I'm not going to do it.
How did
Oh
how
my
did
God.
you feel watching that as a kid?
I hate. You know what, Jerry? Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that I experienced on television as a kid that made me furious. No one in the world is going to remember this. Here's a little aside. Here's Tommy's aside. I remember watching the Donnie and Marie show, and they had a running gag too, where like Donnie would try to get one over on Marie, and all the brothers would like it would never work out for him. He'd have like, oh, I'm going to hit you in the face with the pie or something. He'd get hit in the face with the pie. Oh no.
Oh
And it
no!
would kind of annoy me. And there was one time when he was trying that same gag, he was going to hit her in the face with the pie, and she clued into it right at the last second. And all the brothers, all the other nameless Osmonds came and picked him up and threw him into a gigantic pool-sized pie. And I was sitting there on the floor in Potomac, Maryland going, that is not fair. Why his own brothers turned against him. They weren't even
Oh.
involved. And they just took her side and just tossed him into the pie. That is not okay. What's he supposed to do with that? How's he supposed to go through life trusting
I
anybody?
now see why you were Jer's buddy back in the day.
Oh,
Yeah.
You and
Yeah,
your
we rocked.
outsized justice organs. Both of you. You're like the justice organ twins. Ugh.
Well, it's fascinating that this is even quote a gag. I mean,
Right.
because
Yeah.
okay, you're let's say you're 4 to 13 years old reading these things or
Mhm.
watching this. I mean, I all
Mhm.
know I dig that they're made for kids and for adults. So, that's why it's great. But there's something that's so difficult to watch that he never gets a chance to kick the football. And, so much of life is unfair, and you discover that in those years, like 4 to 13 anyway.
Yeah.
And so it's really hard when you go to the comics to try and forget everything about your life when you're 8 years old.
Right.
And you see life replayed before you in strips.
We
and
are really in a
cartoons.
mood tonight, aren't we? We are. Okay.
But I mean, maybe that is why Peanuts is so endearing and enduring. Is it's all this crap is heaped onto Charlie Brown's shoulders, and he still goes on. And he's fine, and you kind of laugh. It's not like, I don't know, Andy Capp or Marmaduke or something where it's just like, life sucks. Whatever. There's a dog on the couch. It's Monday. My coffee's cold. Like, oh my God. But like, Charlie Brown kind of, yes, I landed flat on my back. I didn't get to kick the ball, but whatever. I'll be back to try it again next time.
But wait a minute. And this is for you, Pete, specifically. Why does this kid wake up in the morning? Because I never see him say that. Like, I dig what you're saying, Tom. And you could say, well, the proof is in the pudding. I mean, he's not dead. Not, you know what I mean? He didn't kill himself yet. But I never see him go, those kids are horrible to me, but it doesn't define who I am. I'm going to be here tomorrow.
That would be really interesting to comb through every single Peanuts comic strip and see if he ever directs that sort of frustration at people, like the people in his life.
Yeah.
Like it's always just sort of like, everything I've touched turns, gets ruined or something, or like, geez, I pitched a losing game, like I can't, whatever, anything, just everything goes to crud. And, but he's never
But
like,
that's why I wonder.
where was Linus? Linus is supposed to have my back.
Yeah.
Why does life have to be like this?
Yeah.
Friends
Well,
like you
yeah.
means friends.
There's never an upside where you're like, at least, we talk about the Brady Bunch with Oliver, and he was the 1 millionth kid to get into Disneyland, so they get in for free. Or,
Oh, man.
Charlie Brown doesn't even have that. Every new day and every sunrise still is crud and rocks and trick-or-treating and not kicking footballs. Like, there's never a moment where people go, Charlie Brown. Actually, did they do it in the Christmas special? Where he has
I was
that-
just thinking,
that
at the Christmas
beat-ass
special in the
Christmas
end,
tree.
they're all,
Yeah.
They compliment him when he's out of the room.
Yeah.
And then they all end up having a nice moment together. At the
Okay,
very
Yeah.
that's because you know what? We had to do a little bit of niceness around Christmas.
end.
Right.
Yeah, that we
Yeah,
had
it's like
to do that.
contractual
One of the worst
obligation.
things about him
Exactly.
getting those rocks is that it's the adults
Oh.
doing it.
Oh, I have
That's the
5
thing.
pages on
Oh,
that.
all right then.
Yeah, we'll get there.
Okay.
We'll get there.
Well, so
But that is absolutely the worst. But before that, like, that's why I wonder if Snoopy is part of his psyche, because Snoopy is also fails quite frequently. You know, like we'll see shortly, he's always getting shot down by the Red
Yeah.
Baron.
hmm
But he always salutes the Red Baron for getting the best of him, and he always gets up and he always smiles, and he's like, "Hey, tomorrow's I'm going to pick myself back up and try another adventure
Yeah.
tomorrow."
Can't keep me down.
And I feel like he's kind of winning through Snoopy.
but he did. But,
yeah.
oh, that's really sad and dark. Like he just has a regular ass. I mean, he
Well,
just.
no, but I mean,
He did the way. He just has a regular ass dog that wears a hat for Halloween.
Sleeps
But
on
in
the top of his
Charlie
dog house.
Brown's, in his delusional mind, his real life sucks in his crud, but he gets to quote win through his dog. But it's all
he
fake.
imagines these adventures, but even those adventures, the dog usually doesn't win. He takes pleasure in knowing that his dog picks himself
Man,
up
I
afterwards.
don't think
Oh,
this
boy.
is how it goes at all. I really don't. I don't like this.
Bring us home, Christy.
Yeah.
Snoopy's a real dog with a
Well,
real
that-
hat, and,
so-
and he really does fly around.
Okay.
He does.
No, I love Snoopy. I want to believe that too. I'm just trying to
Oh,
figure
don't
out
pat
Charlie
me on the
Brown.
head, honestly.
I like your hat too, Christy.
I just wanted to know if Snoopy was an American flying ace or British.
Oh, he's British because he's got a Sopwith Camel, I'm sure.
Oh,
Oh,
see, I
nice,
knew I
Pete.
needed to ask Pete that. Thank you.
Wow.
Sure.
And all the kind of wartime songs he's like
Oh, they're
sidling
British,
up to
of
the
course.
piano with.
Okay, who can name
Yeah,
all 4 wartime songs?
Oh God,
I
really?
can.
Oh, really? Well, I know it's a long way to Tipperary.
Long way
right?
to Tipperary.
Yeah, what's the
for sure.
second one? Hmm?
Well, one of.
You know it?
Well, is there a?
One of them, did you ever watch Downton Abbey? One of them they did a version of on the first season of Downton
Oh,
Abbey.
really?
The Roses of Picardy.
There you go.
Wow.
What was the
Well,
third?
one of them is a bump bump.
Wow.
Pack
Bum,
up your
bum,
troubles
bum,
in your old
bum.
kit bag.
Damn.
Wow.
Well, isn't that
Yeah,
ironic?
let's pack up your troubles.
All the hits.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And what?
Yeah.
but no, I mean you might.
And
How about?
there's a long, long trail.
Well, I mean, come on. It should be unpack your troubles. They're here to stay.
Aw.
Yeah,
Make yourself comfortable.
Hang them in your closet because your troubles are never leaving, kid.
Aw. But it's Snoopy, and he's actually fine.
Well,
He
now
does
he's
have a
been-
wide range
Yeah.
of emotions.
Yes, and that's what's great
Yeah.
about him is he wins and he loses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he's got the same, I'm not gonna be kept down kind of spirit, I guess, that Charlie Brown has.
Right.
But he wins.
And the Red Baron shoots him. Now the Red Baron shoots him down every single time. And the Red Baron, he never gets the Red Baron, but he always shakes his fist and says, "I'll get you next time, Red
That's
Baron."
true.
And then the Red Baron just flies off, and Snoopy salutes him because he knows that he has honor.
Mm-hmm.
And then he crashes, and then he's like, "Next time."
The difference is that Charlie Brown is defeated before he starts. I guess that's not
Charlie
true
Brown's
because he
trying to rake
starts.
the leaves and he gets defeated.
Yeah.
He starts to.
gets
He has the signed document, so he's not defeated before that, but he's double defeated then. It's kind of sad.
He's defeated when he gets
Yeah.
he gets an invitation to the party. And
Oh,
Lucy
yeah.
happens to be standing there, which is not what you don't want Lucy to be standing next to you when you have any kind of joy in your life. He's like, "Hey, I got invited. It's the first time I've been invited to a
I
party."
was wondering who else was on that. Who else was on his list? The do not invite list.
Yeah, she says, "Oh, there were 2 lists, Charlie. This is like totally made up and absolutely just jerk, made up stuff. There were 2 lists. There was a list to invite and a list not to. Like, who makes a list of people not to invite?
And then
You
the
must have
vice-
been on the wrong list. You want to be like, Lucy? No, I just accept that I
And
got
he's
an invitation.
dancing.
to a
He's
list.
so happy.
Yeah.
He's dancing.
Yeah.
He's standing there dancing because he got an invitation.
Yeah.
And she immediately wants to bring him back down
it's
to earth.
one of the cruelest things.
Yeah.
It's absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There were 2 lists. He says, "This is the first party I was ever invited to." And you're
Yeah.
like, well, how about this, Charlie Brown? And this is what's so awful. Read the invitation. Read it out loud and throw it in Lucy's face. If it says Charlie,
Yeah.
it might say Charlie Brown, you're invited.
Right.
Yeah.
You are
Yeah.
invited.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it was like every kid on the do not invite list accidentally invited or something.
right,
Like,
exactly.
that's ridiculous.
They
So
need
is that
some
true, or did
organization
she
over
make
there.
it? Did she
Yeah.
make it up?
I think she must.
she made it up.
She must have made it up. Although you know what, that does sound like the catty, awful kind of thing a bunch of girls would do. They would make a list of people specifically not to invite to a party,
And
they
then
were
invite them?
intentionally
Yeah.
leaving out.
Yeah.
No, not even invite them. Just like,
Accidentally.
yeah.
That'll get 'em.
Like their mom accidentally like mailed the wrong list. Or,
Mom.
oh, she forgot young Charles.
Oh, I'll take care of this. I'll rectify this for my little girl.
But it's interesting because the special then immediately kind of backtracks, and it has them putting on costumes, and Lucy puts on this horrible looking witch
Yeah.
mask. And Lucy says a person should always choose a costume which is in direct contrast to her own personality. And it's interesting because you see a complete lack of self-awareness here from
Right.
Lucy.
Evil
Yeah,
jerks
actually,
never know
William
that
had
they're
to,
evil
William
jerks.
asked me about that.
Oh,
He's like, why did she just say that? Well,
isn't that a little on the nose?
yeah.
You know what I love? You
Well,
look
it-
at that mask, and it's right out of like medieval bubonic plague.
It
Death.
is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely
It's horrible.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's got like the wart on the nose.
Totally.
And it's just
It's like she dressed as jaundice,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
death by
Yeah.
jaundice.
I also
Yes,
like
she
that
is.
her mouth doesn't move because cartoons don't always
Yeah.
get that right. When you wear a mask in a cartoon, sometimes the mouth moves. That's not how masks
That's
work,
oh, that's right. Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
And actually
really-
watching those kids, I remember when you used to wear your Halloween mask and your face got so hot.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
And
that
you
rubber
couldn't
band
really
was too
see. You
tight.
could only see like the knees of
Mhm.
your friend in front of you. And,
Yeah. And it's
While
all
you're
like
watching.
your plastic
Yeah.
breath in your nose.
Yeah.
And,
Mhm.
like your,
and you
Yeah,
step
yeah,
on your
yeah.
long
Condensation,
costume and it
yeah.
kind of like jerks you forward.
yeah. Yeah.
Good times.
Oh, childhood is just the worst.
God, you remember the smell of those vinyl?
Yeah.
Yes. I
Oh
do.
That
man.
was Spider-Man one year. I remember that one clearly.
Charlie
Super
Brown and
sweaty
Schroeder
in there.
actually just wear bandit masks, and William noted that, and he said, "Yeah, just
Mhm.
lazy." I'm like, well, maybe they
Yeah.
just don't like the smell.
Well, it's
Like, I'm not
interesting though
gonna
because
know
they
who
have
they are.
everyone has two sets of
Yeah.
costumes. Like they have the costumes they wear trick or treating, and then they have like the bandit masks, and Lucy has like a magician's hat
Oh yeah.
when they get
Oh
to
yeah, it's like
party.
she's like a straight up necromancer.
So hard to
You
find
look
those
at the
at
head.
Woolworths, Jer.
the
Hard to
yeah.
find those off the rack necromancer costumes.
I have a really good question, by the way.
Yes.
What the hell are
Uh-huh.
tricks or treats?
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
I love
I
that
know
they say
one.
that. I love that they say that.
1951
More than one.
to 69.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
Yeah, I looked it up. So
Wow.
Oh, specifically tricks or treats?
Tricks or treats because it you put it in a rhyme. So give us eats, and that's the rhyming part. So
Oh.
as far back as 51, it was plural
Huh.
in the strips, and then it kind of started fading out by the late 60s, and by 69 they actually made it singular in the strip, but they never changed it in the cartoon. Yeah.
Wow.
Nobody
Deep
knows that but me.
dive.
Nobody knows
I
that
know.
but me.
That's awesome.
Happens to be true. Now, do you like it better, tricks or treats, or do you like singular better?
Well, I like it singular for us, but I like in the cartoon that it's got sort of a special flavor. Like I've never heard tricks or treats anywhere else.
I guess
I
it
just
almost
thought
makes
it
more
was-
sense in a way.
Yeah, I thought it was just
Yeah.
indicative that Lucy's so nasty. She's not going to play one on you, and
Oh.
you better pay her with more. She's not going
Right.
to just get one treat. It's like, no, I want a mountain of treats, or
Yeah.
you'll get a hex of a whole
Yeah.
panoply of tricks.
Yeah.
Wow.
A hurricane of tricks are coming in.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, speaking of tricks, so Charlie, we talk about how Charlie Brown is so mean, you know, everyone's so mean and horrible to him,
Mhm.
but they all walk out to the pumpkin patch to make
Yeah.
fun of Linus,
Aw.
and Charlie Brown joins in on it.
I
Charlie
think that's,
Brown is also
that's
a
his
jerk to
only
Linus.
joy.
Oh.
Also, this
But
is
it's
what it's
interesting
like.
that he doesn't learn a lesson like. It feels terrible when people are mean to me.
Yeah.
like
Right.
he's like trying to beat up on the weak kid.
I'm
now.
surprised they don't call him Linus Brown.
Oh.
Yeah.
He just shucks his name at that moment.
The
Sounds
line
like
is
he's-
bad.
Call me
Yeah, like he's
Charlie.
lower than Charlie
Yeah.
Brown here at this moment.
Yeah.
He's the leper now. You know what's really strange is if you get all the, the girls in this cartoon, and it doesn't really look very good for their gender. You know, you
No.
got Lucy, and then you have the two that they're kind of like Lucy's friends, and they're very yelly. They appear out of nowhere, and they're kind of like, "Why would you do that? That's the
Yeah.
dumbest thing on the," you know. And then
Lucy says, "I hate you."
Lucy
So I
says,
guess I
"I'm supposed
do.
to," and then you have Sally, which is kind
Yeah.
of tough. You're like, so Sally is she a loser just by association
No.
because she's Sally Brown?
No.
Okay. So her whole
She's a loser
No,
all on her own.
she's a
She's
loser
not.
all on her own. Her whole
She becomes
thing,
an officer
her
in her
whole-
sorority later. Just saying. Just saying.
Absolutely.
her whole thing is FOMO, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's I
Yeah.
mean, she
Yeah.
kind of I guess she gives it up for love, but then it turns really dark and nasty, and she gets as nasty as all the other females in the
Yeah.
cartoon here. And
Well,
then for the
people.
men, well, hang on.
Yeah, I don't think this is gender specific.
Well,
I
wait a
think the
minute,
men are
but for
just
the
as
men, you have
horrible.
Charlie
duped.
Brown. Charlie Brown's a loser, and Linus is just a failure. Who's like he's just kind of like a wet noodle in this. He's a
But
delusional wet
Charlie
noodle.
Brown and Linus, but they also snipe at each other, like for their beliefs. Like they also attack Linus and Charlie Brown both attack each other for what they believe.
Well, to be clear, Charlie Brown is also threatened by Linus. He says way back earlier. He says, "What are you trying to do to my little sister?" When Linus is trying to convert her.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
true.
So there's some
Read into that what you will. I'll hang out with you, Linus, but you can't date my sister.
That's right. And Sally's a rule follower. She says, "Are you sure it's legal?"
Yeah.
Of course it's legal. Well, I wouldn't want to be involved with something that's
Yeah.
a rumble. Now, where'd she hear about rumbles?
Although there's that really cringe. Yeah, I like the Rumble line, but there's that really cringeworthy thing that comes up a little bit later when Linus says, "I thought little girls
Yeah.
always believed everything that was told to them. I thought little girls were innocent and
Thanks for
trusting."
nothing,
And
1966.
then she says, "Welcome to the 20th century." Yeah.
Meanwhile, he's spouting off about sincerity. And again, we have to go back to this. Where did you get this information? You know, where did you get all this?
Yeah.
You know, he says, what does hypocrisy sound like?
Well, he's speaking specifically about the pumpkin patch, and the pumpkin patch that I guess he seeded months ago
On the edge of the
Yeah.
military base. Yeah.
on the edge of the military
Yeah.
base. They gave him a little.
He grafted.
Yeah, he grafted. So
Without killing any pumpkins and their seeds. Mm-mm.
what if this whole thing is just boot camp? That's why everybody's so mean and yelling.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, let's
Lucy's the
let's pop
sergeant.
for apples.
Are we maybe like painting Linus the wrong way? Are we missing the point that he's actually kind of awesome and that he's like this free spirit, artistic dude who has this, what he must know is a wacky belief that, you know, this whole Great Pumpkin thing, like it can't possibly be true. He knows that he made it up, but he's sort of like seeing it through to the end. He's like, no, you guys go, I'm giving up tricking and treatings or whatever. And I'm going to, drag Sally into this too. But it's almost like a performance art thing that he's doing almost for himself. But Sally happens to be along for it or
Wow.
something.
Well, see, I want to believe that. And I went through the special believing that. But at the end, he threatens Charlie Brown for not believing the same
Yeah.
thing.
Mhm.
So I think,
Yeah.
no, he's not.
Well, he's digging
not.
in.
He's a
He's like,
fundamentalist. Is what he is.
Yeah.
He's a
Fundamentalist.
He is.
Hey, yeah,
He
you know
is,
what, I'm
I'm
yeah.
going to take this joke
And that's like
way
the
too
sincerity
far.
of the pumpkin patch.
The whole
It's not. It doesn't matter if you sincerely believe. You have to believe the right thing.
wow, that's great. You know what Linus is? He's just a Catholic.
Well,
That's all it is. I mean, everybody else is out
Yeah.
having fun at a party. They're either
Yeah.
getting tricks or treats, both are which
Right.
not allowed in the Catholic Church.
Yeah.
You know, and all these people are dressing up as pagan idols and, witches and all this
Yay.
stuff.
Mhm.
And Linus eschews all that sort of, because it is. I mean, remember the whole Halloween thing is like All Hallows Eve. It's right before All Saints Day. So really, Linus is the one, he's saying, no, I'm not going to take part in this pagan ritual, this disgusting, tricks or treats to Baal. I'm going to sit in the pumpkin patch. which I don't want to be the one to tell him. You're like, that's a little witchy and earthy yourself there, Linus, but
Yeah.
it's fine.
Right.
Bring it on.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm going to miss out on all the fun, and
Mhm.
I'm going to still believe no matter what. No
Yeah,
matter
I'm the only
what
one who
evidence-
actually
Yes.
understands Halloween the right way.
Yes, and he
Yeah.
gets
Yeah.
a convert.
He does
Right?
for a while.
Well,
Sort
for a
of,
little while.
He
yeah.
gets a convert
Yeah.
for a little while.
Yeah.
So this is
But then she turns
exactly
on
what
him.
brought me to the Great Pumpkin objection. So the Great Pumpkin objection.
Oh yeah.
Now you're going to hear about it. So there was an analytic philosopher who said you don't have to have evidence and rational arguments for a belief in God. So and he gave several different arguments for why that's true. And this is he was a Reformed Protestant and or at a Reformed Protestant school, but he was really a philosopher. So he says that you can just believe, and it's a natural belief or it's a basic belief, so that you don't need rational
Mhm.
arguments for it, and you're not
I
going
thought
to
that was
dissuade
always
anybody that way.
Given.
What?
I thought that was, I mean, it's not like it's a faith thing. It's not like
If it were a given, we wouldn't need the Great Pumpkin objection of 1981.
somebody wanted to reference peanuts in a legal proceeding. And
So the reason
Yeah.
that it's the Great Pumpkin objection is because he argued that humans have this natural belief in the world around them and wonder in the universe and certain
Uh-huh.
natural or basic beliefs. Great Pumpkin does not fall under them. And actually they give a lot of, if A, then B, modus potens, blah, 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 and diagrams and
Uh-huh.
so on.
You kind of have to think though that the Great Pumpkin would have been one like
A basic belief like that.
8,000 years ago. Well, yeah, kind of like because so much of early religion seemed to be based on and superstition seemed to be based on harvest
Yeah,
times,
Yeah.
and on trying to placate the gods or the spirits to try to have good crops. So it seems like at some point someone would have said, "Oh, that grafted squash there is going to be my create. I need to worship him."
But
But
of
this
course,
isn't
but-
Linus's pumpkin patch. Is he trying to offer up that pumpkin patch as an offering to the Great Pumpkin, even though it's not his? He's like,
The
look,
idea-
I stumbled into this awesome pumpkin patch. You can have
The
it.
idea is that it's only Linus. Nobody
Yeah.
else believes it. If everybody else
Yeah.
believed it, then we wouldn't have a Great Pumpkin objection.
Well, what if Linus is just the town druid?
He's
Yeah.
not.
But
He's not.
druids have people that believe the same as them.
Yeah.
If you go over like to the UK, but is there anywhere Linus could go that someone else is going to believe what he believes, or is he the only guy on
Oh,
Earth?
if you come to if you come to 7-Eleven in L.A., there's going to be somebody who's going to be talking about the Great Pumpkin,
right.
and he saw him last night.
Yeah.
And his name is Gerald, and he just got a kombucha.
He does make it very sensory, though. He says it's sincere as far as the eye can see. He says that a couple of times, and then he does ask,
Yeah.
"What does hypocrisy
Yeah.
sound like?" So
Yeah.
he's immersed, man. I don't
He's
know where
kinda-
he gets this information.
Yeah.
And then he also like at one point he says if you come tonight, and then he stops himself. He's like, "Oh my god, I just said if."
Yeah.
That's a no. Like he's going to be really mad.
What?
It's all sort of he has to say the right words,
Where-
or he's
where
gonna
did he
get
mail
angry.
that letter?
He's gonna be angry.
You know,
What's
you know
the
what?
address?
The East Pole.
Oh,
The East Pole.
all right.
Just because it's so out there.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, where did he mails it? And by the way, he uses the blanket like a bullwhip
Mhm.
to
Yeah.
open
Yeah,
up
exactly,
the
like Indiana
mailbox.
Jones would. Yeah.
He sure does.
Yeah. And Sally's just enraged that he mails that letter. Like for her, that's an
Oh,
affront
Lucy.
to
I
her
think
own
it's
Or Lucy,
sophistication.
yeah.
I mean Lucy, yeah, not Sally. Yeah,
They
Lucy.
really have some
Yeah.
triggered tempers over there, don't they? Maybe something
Yeah.
in the water.
She does
Yeah.
anyway, yeah.
Yeah.
Sally does too.
Yeah.
I never really understood.
Yeah, Sally gets angry really
Yeah.
quickly after the
What's
Great Pumpkin
interesting
doesn't
is
show
I
up.
mean, she was there all night, and she actually missed out on trick or treating and everything.
Tricks or
And I
treat.
don't blame her at all.
But
for
That's
that,
true.
listen, that
That's
is
true.
the price you pay for love.
Yeah,
And
Maybe the love
they
wasn't that
get,
strong, Jerry.
Is that changed her opinion about love though? Does she realize that love isn't worth all that?
Yeah.
When she spends the night there with Linus, and then at the end she's just enraged. She's like, "That wasn't worth it."
See
I don't
also
have the candy.
Charlie Brown's Valentine. Charlie Brown.
Yeah.
So no.
I would,
See also
you know,
Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
well, those are Ursat's little, heart bubbles that pop up around her head because she's walking away. She's made her decision. Basically, when the crowd ridicules the Linus Jesus, when
Give us
the
Barabbas.
Pharisees, exactly. No, they all walk away to tricks and treats, and Sally's among them. And
Yeah.
Linus says, "Sally, you'll deny me 3 times before
No,
Halloween
she
is
doesn't.
through."
Yeah.
No, and she turns around and she falls in love, or at least she has, I guess, what appear now to be infatuation hearts, not true love hearts.
Yeah.
If they're true love
Right.
hearts,
Right.
she would have been with Linus at the end in the field.
That's
which,
right.
by the way, we're jumping ahead a little bit. But Pete, I'm betting $1 that there is a conspiracy theory that the Great Pumpkin actually did show up and alight in the pumpkin patch, because if you look at the pumpkin patch at the end,
Oh.
it's completely it looks very different. It almost looks as if like there's a land, like it's like an LZ. There's like a landing zone for the Great Pumpkin.
Really?
So you're saying Linus missed it? He fell asleep.
I
and
think
missed it.
Linus fell asleep and missed it, and
Oh,
if you look
man.
at the pumpkin patch, it's
Oh,
a
that's
little the way
brutal.
they shoot it. It looks different than when he's there the night before.
Oh,
I
man.
actually think the super conspiracy.
That's the meanest thing
That
of
is
all
really
of these
sad.
shows. Wow.
Way too many life
That's really
lessons
dark.
going on.
What I find
Way
fascinating
too
is
many
why
slaps in the face of reality.
are both sisters so litigious?
Yeah. Sally demands restitution.
does.
Yeah, and she
She
says,
does.
"I'll sue."
Yeah. She
Yeah.
kind of always goes
Yeah.
that way.
She does. All I want is what I have coming to me. All I want is my fair share.
That's right. That's right. I don't know when our listeners are listening to it, but it happens to be her birthday today. Happens to be.
Oh,
Get outta
wow.
here.
Yeah, she's 59.
Wait, Sally the
Wow.
character?
Sally is 59.
Stop it.
She is, and she had a
My
loose
reality.
tooth when she recorded Great Pumpkin, and she couldn't read. So,
Oh, you're talking about the actress. Okay.
Yeah.
who were
I
you
thought meant
talking
Sally
about?
the character somehow.
Sally
Like the character. I don't know.
I thought you meant
Sally's
Sally. like a
actually-
Wikipedia.
That's when she
kind
first.
of thing.
Oh, she was like a baby in the comic strip for a while.
She was.
Tommy
I don't know.
thinks they're real.
Well, they are.
How come she won't write back to me, Christy?
Well, you didn't use the right address. I don't know.
No.
Well, she couldn't read her lines because she
West
couldn't
Pole.
read, so they had to say her lines, and then she would say them, and then she had a loose tooth, and they had to say them really fast before her loose tooth fell out and she got a lisp. But she didn't.
I have no trouble believing any of that. That's
See, there you
hysterical.
go.
Yeah. Yeah.
So much of the everybody's dialogue in these things sounds like they said like half a sentence, and then a week later they said the other half
Yeah.
of the sentence, and they taped them together.
My
Yeah,
favorite
they're-
is
yeah, they're
when
very
Violet
good.
goes,
Yeah.
ah ha ha. They're trick or treating.
I've never understood, like, the whole thing is so stylized from start to finish, and I've never understood the kids' voices. Like, I guess they're kids.
Or their love for light jazz.
Yeah, they're literally kids.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because the way they blurt the stuff out with this really strange confidence, like almost
Yeah, they
all
do.
of it, and then it's got these adult
Yeah.
themes.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
no
The
The
actual
whole
adults.
thing is,
Yeah. I guess part
Yeah,
of the
no,
magic. of
I
it,
got
which is-
you.
Yeah.
I gotcha. It's really strange, and I'm stuck because I love the nostalgia of it, and I love watching it, and I was thrilled when we decided to do it, but the cartoons are terrible. The town is terrible, and the people are terrible. I mean, the stories, not the just
Yeah, they're very dark.
They're,
Yeah.
I don't even know what they're like. I don't just like.
I don't even know if
It's
they're
okay to
dark,
treat
but they're-
everybody
Brothers
horribly,
Grimm
and
kinda
it's
stuff.
fine. We
Yeah.
all live
They're
in
more
this.
they're more harshly realistic than you expect a thing about a bunch of kids to be. I think that's
like
what happens.
like isn't Sally
Yeah.
six?
Like, oh Jesus, they went for that, didn't they? All
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and then we get that here because they all put on their costumes and they go trick-or-treating, and every single house they go to, Lucy gets a huge like pile of
Yeah.
candy,
Mm-hmm.
and then she asks for extra for her brother, and they give her an extra piece.
Stupid brother.
You know, and everybody else, yeah, stupid brother, and everybody else gets at least something. And then Charlie Brown at every single house gets a rock.
That's amazing.
like the adults
Yeah.
give him a
This is
rock.
the first time
And
I've
it's-
noticed that you actually see the rock sail into his bag each time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah,
I got
And
a rock.
yeah.
What's fascinating is so the adult is essentially supposed to be life.
Yeah, but
Like-
just like
I
well,
guess.
what is,
yeah.
like do they like okay, some houses like you have like the big thing of candy and then maybe I'll have like I don't know if there's a kid who doesn't go for that or something. I'll have like some apples or whatever. I'll have like some little
Right.
bags of nuts or something, like some alternative thing. They have like a basket of rocks? Like if there's a kid who just rubs me the wrong way, or I can tell
Yeah.
from like his scissors mishaps that he's a total loser, I'm just going to give him a rock. Yeah.
Or
Oh,
And the
awful.
fact that every parent, like the only adults that they show in this special are you see their hands, and every single one of them tries to humiliate and make Charlie Brown feel horrible.
Yeah.
you know who
That's
he is?
awful.
He's Job.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, he is.
He's
He
ju-
is
I mean,
Joe.
like just
yeah.
life. He keeps losing at everything. Even in this case, they all go up and they're in. You know what you'd imagine. You'd be like, okay, there's a random assortment of candy because they get all this stuff thrown down. It looks like
It's
garbage,
true.
but they get all
Yeah.
these
Yeah.
boxes and balls, and one gets a popcorn ball.
Like unwrapped
whole-
Cheetos.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
whole point of it is that it's random, and that's what they discuss.
Yeah.
I got a piece of chewing gum. I got a
right,
popcorn
yeah.
ball. I got a chocolate bar. I got
Yeah.
a rock. And you're like
I
the only
specifically
guy.
got
Yeah,
a
it's
rock.
not random for one
Yeah,
kid.
and
Yeah.
he gets it at every house. All the other kids get different random things at different houses. Not one kid just always gets chewing gum at the
Right.
whole night.
I bet each rock
Yeah.
has written on it, "Up yours, Charlie Brown."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Please,
That's what it
I
seems
bet,
like.
yeah, I'm
yeah,
sure
I
it
thought
does.
Lucy
Yeah.
killed you.
Yeah, why don't you go fall flat on your
Yeah.
back and kill yourself?
I'm gonna finish the job
Oh.
tonight.
Horrible.
Yeah, sleep with one eye open.
But they said
Oh.
kids felt so bad watching this special that the CBS got like hundreds of packages filled with candy and
Really?
money and treats for Charlie
Wow.
Brown. Yeah.
Whoa.
I actually
Oh, that's
remember. I think this is partly because they were trying to cram more commercials in, and they trimmed some stuff. But I remember seeing this originally, and like it happens 3 times that he gets a rock.
Mm-hmm.
But then, like in
Uh-huh.
the maybe the 80s or something, when they were rerunning it over and over and over again, that happened maybe once. Like they didn't repeat it, and I remember missing that. I'd be like, well, wait a minute. I thought that happened a lot more than
Oh,
just
wow.
once. And I wonder if they cut back on it because people were freaked out.
No, I read
Curious.
that they did cut it out.
Wow.
They cut the
Okay.
rock thing
Wow.
out. Yeah, they did cut it out. I don't know if it was because so many kids and adults wanted to kill themselves, or
You
if
got
it
a
was
rock.
a time thing. Yeah, I mean, now I think one of the original trick or treat things is that you could get a rock, right?
No,
Wasn't that what it like? You get
don't
you
know.
go.
Cherry.
that's lump of
Wasn't
coal.
it?
I'm sad for you.
It was
That's
a
all.
lump of it was a lump of coal.
No, that's Christmas.
That's
See,
true. That's
You're just as
Christmas,
bad
yeah.
as Linus, Christy. You're conflating Santa Claus and the
I
Great
had
Pumpkin.
I had a question about that. So Charlie Brown, you know how he gets all excited? They say, "You want me to be the model? Really?" So
Oh,
at the
God,
party, and they
Yeah.
they draw the pumpkin on the back of his head.
Mhm.
Does he get mad about
Yeah.
that at all?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, his head's all his
Yeah.
face
Yeah,
is
he
all
gets
red
really-
and
yeah.
shiny, yeah.
Oh, he does.
Face
Yeah.
is all red. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
different question.
yeah, he
then.
gets really
Is he
angry.
really bald?
Wait. Can I follow up on that one
Yeah.
though, really quick?
Yeah.
Do they really need to interrupt Charlie Brown? He's having a fun time. You can see him; he's running around. Do they need a model at all for that amazingly innovative jack-o'-lantern design they came up
In
with?
1966, that was
No,
very
it's
innovative.
just a chance to
it was the
humiliate
first
him.
Three
time they had ever done
triangles and a
that.
squiggly.
Well, the interesting
pretty
thing is the jack o' lantern's mouth is Charlie Brown's shirt.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
that's true.
Yeah.
Does anybody else
Yeah.
have Twisted Sister stuck in the head right now? I got a rock.
Oh my god!
Sorry. It's true.
Actually, Williams' comment about that is, doesn't everybody have the same head shape? Like, is it just because he's bald? That's baldest.
It is.
Yeah.
I mean, at that
Yeah.
age, that's got to be
I
some
said,
sort
no,
of
it's
weird
not
condition.
baldest. It's actually hairist.
But Jerry was right. Does that count as bald if he's got that little curly Q on the front?
I don't, well,
Well-
what is it supposed to? I don't
I
know.
think
like,
it's- he-
does
Is
he
it-
have
is it-
like?
he's kind of like a baby.
Yeah.
He's kind of like it's kind of like a
Yes.
baby.
Yeah, he's
Yes.
like a baby
That's
head,
right.
or he's like a a leper or something. He just has this.
Maybe he has a lot of eczema and his hair fell out. Alopecia.
Yeah.
He's like Job.
What's weird is I think
Yeah.
not to be unfun and literal, but I think
Oh,
no.
God.
I mean, when Peanuts started, I think the kids were all much younger. They were like toddlers or something.
Yeah,
They were.
So I think he was drawn
Yeah.
as like a kid with like barely any hair and stuff.
yeah,
And then he got
yeah.
all the way to
Yeah, I
high
think
school
you're
or
right.
something.
And they
He
never
was
gave
still
him
bald.
that.
Yeah.
They never gave him hair. That's
No.
kind of sad.
I mean,
Yep.
he does. He's got like
Yep.
a curly Q.
He should be shaking his
Yeah.
fist at Charles Schultz this whole time. Like, why, God?
Yeah.
Why?
Yes.
I just want to play
Yeah.
baseball. I want
Yeah.
to kick the football. I want a girl to like me.
Even
wanna fly
Daffy
my
Duck
kite.
in Duck Amuck, he got to shake his
Right.
feathers a lot.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, but
I'd
that's
like to
the
see
Bugs
Charlie
Bunny
Brown in
was his creator. That was
Chuck
awful.
Amuck.
I don't want to skip over though the this whole scene with Snoopy having the dog fight with the
Oh,
Red
yeah.
Baron is spectacular.
He breaks the
Like,
fourth
it's
wall.
gorgeous.
He
Yeah.
actually looks at the camera.
Yeah, yeah. It's beautiful.
He turns
and they
colors.
reference one of my all-time favorite movies.
What's that?
If you ever saw Wings, it was made in
Hmm.
1927 at the first Academy Award. It was this giant epic, one of the last great silent films, and it was a World War I flying movie. And at one point in the movie, one of the characters gets shot down and has to flee through the kind of the countryside in France to get back to his own lines. And they copy that here with Snoopy.
No kidding.
And they have like the same signs, and he kind of goes through the same thing. It's like a complete homage to Wings.
That's
cool.
really cool. So the people watching that back in
Yeah.
the day would have known that.
Yeah, well, some would
Some
have,
of-
'cause
some
it would have
of-
been, like 40 years prior.
Yeah.
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 That's
I
a good one.
I love that he sleeps on the haystack. That's exactly like
Yeah.
his house. And he's in
Yeah,
France.
yeah.
It's got this whole like
Yeah.
Monet haystacks vibe.
Yeah.
Right.
It's not very hidden.
And the art
though.
is
So he
spectacular.
spends a lot of time
No, it's not
sneaking
hidden at
around
all.
and then like,
Yeah.
oh, here I am on a haystack. Silhouetted.
Don't shoot.
for some
So
reason.
does that all happen on Halloween night? Like is in Peanutsville, is the city itself or the village set up like a World War I French town?
No.
Yeah, because that at one point he's sneaking through the back, through the German lines, and he climbs into this bombed out
Yeah.
house
Mhm.
in no man's land, and that bombed out house happens to be Violet's house where the party's going on.
He's using his imagination, guys. It's whimsy.
Wait, who is? Snoopy or Charlie
Snoopy
Brown?
is. He's
Yeah,
running around
thank you,
pretending
Jerry.
He's in World
Thank
War
you.
One. He's having fun.
But his
Snoopy.
doghouse is actually shot up.
No, not really.
Not really.
Why does he sleep? Why does he sleep on the top of the doghouse? Why does he ever go inside?
I love that.
does,
Yeah,
it's
he
like
does go
on
inside.
Yeah.
comics where he goes inside.
Garbage can or something. It's just like
I
this
think it's
area
just
inside.
it's just irony. It's like that's
Yeah.
you have a doghouse so that you're safeguarded against the elements. And if you're on top of it, you're fully exposed. That's the last place in the doghouse where you would expect to be, especially because it's a corner. It's like like
Yeah.
a tiny corner, like his spine is on a half an
Yeah.
inch.
Yeah, yeah,
I do like that scene with and the music that plays in the back, and he's all different colors.
Mhm.
uh-huh.
It's very
yeah. And I like when I was a kid, like this made me fascinated by World War I and the Red Baron and all that stuff. And it's kind of timely because we're at the almost exactly the 100th year anniversary of the armistice of World
Oh
War
wow.
Oh, good one.
I. It's just a few
Way
days
to
away.
date the podcast, Pete.
I was wondering how Charlie Brown knows it's a sop with camel.
Snoopy told him.
Yeah, how does
I
he
mean,
know so
I
much
think
about
that-
World War One? Yeah,
I think that Snoopy knows it's a sop with camel because it's Snoopy's imagination, but I don't know how Charlie Brown knows that particular aircraft.
so would that mean Snoopy is reincarnated from a British flying ace, or is he just incredibly well read?
He does seem to. I mean, he's got a typewriter. He writes books. He reads a lot.
That's true.
He's got
That's
a
true.
typewriter.
He probably was a
Picked
dark
it
and
up.
stormy night. Yeah.
Well, who
Sure, he has
who
a
is
library
Charlie
card.
Brown saying that to?
Somebody
Linus.
asks him. They say,
Oh
like, "Hey,
no,
where's
he's
your dog?"
saying it to somebody. He says, "What's your stupid
Yeah,
dog doing?"
yeah.
I wasn't actually asking Charlie Brown. You didn't have to go into this whole soliloquy about what your dog's doing. I was making fun of your dog.
How'd you get here? I thought you're on the do not invite list.
Yeah, how'd you get in here? You set off the alarm?
I love that scene though where Snoopy gets shot down and is like his plane's going down and you hear that "Rrrr," and he stands up and salutes the Red
Yeah,
Baron.
yeah.
Like he stands there like
Yep.
very regally. And then they do this like very 60s jump cut to him sitting there like trying to land the plane again. Like it's this amazing
Mhm.
kind of crazy artistic cut.
Yeah. Can we agree? Do we all
He's very
understand
expressive
and
in that
accept
one.
as a fact that in Star Wars with the Jawas, they sometimes use just straight up Snoopy dialogue for the Jawas?
What?
Go watch like when when they shoot down R2 and
Tell me
stuff and they're
more.
picking them up. Like some of them are just flat out talking Snoopy. They just sound exactly like Snoopy.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm talking
All right,
about.
I'll check it out.
Oh, you mean like Etudi?
Yeah, but like I mean, not all of it sounds exactly
You
like
said
Snoopy, but
ATV?
some of it sounds exactly like Snoopy. Like I'm not going to try to imitate it.
Yeah.
It's like this, like
I know what
what
you're
you
talking
hear him
about.
do in this special. You hear some Jawas
Yeah.
say.
It's interesting though because I think Snoopy is the only character not voiced by a kid.
No, yeah,
Because he's voiced by the director, Bill Melendez. And I wonder if
Yeah,
that's
that's
like
right.
it's interesting. He's the only one that's not a kid.
That's clearly why Snoopy's the coolest. I love it. You know, Schroeder's shirt is my favorite.
that
It's
is
like
a good shirt.
it's dark purple with dark lavender lines, and that's it. But
Yeah.
I absolutely hate Schroeder.
You've always hated
Yeah,
Schroeder.
why do you
I
hate
don't
Schroeder
quite
so
get
much?
that.
You've always hated him, yeah.
Why? What's wrong with Schroeder?
Because he's not
He
not
seems-
cool.
Is he
'Cause he
not
doesn't-
cool?
He's
No,
not
he
mean.
is.
Yeah, he's
no,
not
he
mean. Is that
kinda,
why he's not
no,
cool?
he is kind of mean. Like there's he's well, the only I guess oddly redeeming quality about him is that he just really gives it to Lucy and lays into her on a couple of the episodes.
Yeah.
Like Lucy, like
Yeah.
that's Lucy's Achilles heel is Schroeder.
Mhm.
She, and I
Mhm.
guess
Yeah.
music tames the savage beast. And I guess she's always like leaning up against his piano, and he's like, get away from me.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
See, I
he's
don't think he's outwardly mean. I don't think he goes out of his way to be mean to Charlie Brown ever. And that's the only
But-
person. If he can be mean to anybody, I don't care. But
Yeah.
if he's mean to Charlie Brown, that's a problem.
Yeah,
But he's like Snoopy. He's like the indifferent. He's indifferent to Charlie Brown.
But there's
And he's got his
times-
own
He's
thing
kinda
going
cold.
on. He's a cool. If he could smoke, he would be smoking like in the corner with his piano.
He'd have a beret.
Yeah, with a beret and like his book of poetry and just
Huh.
doing his own thing. And
but see, I'd say,
you know,
aren't there times
got
where
his
he's
headphones on.
negative towards Charlie Brown or disparaging, but he's never positive towards him.
No, you're right.
Yeah,
But
he's
I mean,
never.
you can say that about almost
Yeah,
everybody.
he doesn't
in the
really
show.
defend him.
Yeah, I am saying that
Does
about
everybody
almost
have
everybody in the show.
Yeah, but then you single
Well,
Schroeder
does everybody
out.
in the show have an unrequited love?
Well, Peppermint Patty loves
What?
Charlie Brown.
Right?
Yes, and Marcy loves Charlie Brown.
I guess Linus
Yeah.
kind of
Right.
like Sally.
Wow, that's tough. How do they maintain that friendship?
Does Peppermint Patty actually love Charlie Brown, or does she just like him as a buddy?
She likes him as a buddy, but she'd date him. She'd go out.
She
She
teases
respects
him.
him. You know what?
She
She
flirts with
respects
him.
Yeah. And then Sally likes Linus. Lucy likes Schroeder.
Mm-hmm. Schroeder likes
Do-
Beethoven.
Yeah.
Right.
Pigpen loves
And
dirt.
Snoopy likes Woodstock. Yeah, and Pigpen likes dirt.
I love Pigpen.
Yeah.
He's actually my favorite. Now, Pigpen.
I quote him more often than I think anybody on any of these things. For some reason, I always quote the line. In the Christmas special, he goes, "Kind of makes you want to treat me with a little more respect, doesn't it?"
Well, so is he the closest to Charlie Brown? He never, ever is. He said he is never disparaging to Charlie Brown.
No,
I think that's true.
that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, maybe he's in a chorus of laughing kids sometimes,
Yeah.
but like, I don't think he would he wouldn't walk into the room like Patty with her bow and be like, "Charlie Brown, you're a blockhead."
Right.
I don't
right,
think he ever
right.
like goes out of his way to be a jerk.
I'm just fascinated by Pigpen. Like, is he dirty? Like, does he not bathe dirty, or is he just spend a lot of time walking through dirt.
But what if it's literal? Like he,
he lives in a pig pen or
he
something?
lives in a. Well, I guess if it was truly literal, he'd be the pig pen.
Yeah.
Like the
And that'd be
pigs live
silly.
in
So no.
him.
Like a dog flying
Oh.
an airplane.
Okay.
I don't know. We got kids.
Thank you, Christy.
Oh, all right.
It's like that 8-foot tall passenger pigeon or whatever.
Oh, I would say I was one of the things I said about Pigpen is that yes, he's always nice to Charlie Brown, but Linus is always nice to Charlie Brown too. He's a little disparaging, a tiny little bit, kind of like "Oh, I'm so disappointed in you." But in this one, he has totally lost his mind, so he really can't be expected to keep it together.
Yeah,
Really,
Linus has
Linus
his own
makes it-
weird agenda in this one, which he normally
Yeah.
doesn't have.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what is
Except when
because
he
at the end
gets-
of this, when Linus just lays into Charlie Brown, and he spends the entire
Right.
credits, as Jerry, as you mentioned, they're standing on a bridge,
Yeah,
Yeah.
and Linus is just shrieking at him.
he's lashing
About-
out blindly.
Yeah. Yeah, but they kind of portray Linus as being this open-minded guy that's open to this different idea, but he's not open-minded to anybody else not believing it also.
Well, I don't know. I think he's mostly reacting to people thinking that he's nuts. And they're telling him that he's stupid for believing in the Great Pumpkin. He's like, listen, you guys, I believe in the Great Pumpkin, so shut up. Like, I'm going to be here next Halloween, and I'm going to see the Great Pumpkin. And you can all bite me.
Why is it such high stakes for that guy?
I don't know. You wonder if, what if nobody had said a word about the Great Pumpkin? He wrote a letter to the Great Pumpkin. He sent it. He hung out in the pumpkin patch all night. He didn't see anything. He went to bed. Would he have just been like, all right, like next year? I
Yeah,
guess I'll go
nobody came and
trick-or-treating?
taunted him. Nobody.
Yeah,
And it's
like
funny,
would he
what
just
if-
kind of let it go? Is
You
he
know
just,
what?
like,
What
being
about
defiant?
this? What about if they loved Linus, and they just said,
What if everybody loved each other?
"Yeah," they just
Yeah.
said,
Mice.
That's
He'd have no
Linus.
show.
Linus is really really creative in his own way,
But
and
the-
so
but
that's just
Charlie-
Linus.
But
Yeah.
Charlie Brown is actually trying to be encouraging when Linus blows up at him.
Well,
Charlie
he's
Brown is
that's
actually trying
what's
to make
so
him feel
Oh,
better.
right,
that's
right.
what's so awful about it. They're commiserating, and
Yeah.
that's what's so awful. Once again, he's with his best friend. They're both about to commit suicide, jump off the bridge,
Mhm, holding
right?
hands.
And even then, Linus berates him.
Yeah.
Right before they're like, okay,
Yeah.
this is it. I literally at the end, they're
Well, he's
reflecting.
clearly not himself, honey.
Well,
Yeah.
Clearly beside himself.
but
He got
that's
very
what's
little
so
sleep the night before.
That's what's
Right.
so dark is Linus may not be himself, so he's got a bad night, but Charlie Brown is himself.
Oh.
That's what's so dark about it. Linus, everybody loses their marbles once a year or whatever. And they even say, this is how, Lucy says, or one of them says, this is the night once a year where Linus makes a fool of himself. And you
Yeah.
go, fine. But that's
Yeah.
every night for Charlie Brown. That's what's so
Yeah.
dark. And so they're reflecting on their Halloweens, right? Both had these dreams and desires and hopes. Both failed and were disappointed. And so you're left at the final bridge scene. Like, is it best not to desire things? And then Linus delivers this diatribe about next year he will be, he'll build a bigger, more sincere pumpkin patch. And then you're like, so we're
Yeah.
all doomed to be in this Buddhist samsara cycle of
Yeah.
suffering.
Yeah.
Well, that's the irony is we're exhaling at that moment. Charlie Brown is, and we're
Yeah.
identifying
Yeah.
with him. He goes,
Yeah.
well, Linus, Halloween is come and gone. Another year. And it's an
Yeah.
exhale, and you're
Let's please
feeling
get on
that.
with our lives.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're feeling it.
Yeah.
And you're like, it's okay. The sun rose. It's November 1st, All Saints Day, a holy day of
Labor Day.
obligation, Linus. Yeah. Jinx.
Dia de los Muertos.
Woo! That's right. And Linus, loses it. And that's basically we're left with, no, he didn't learn anything. He's going to repeat this misery. And the human condition is a miserable one. Expect no change.
See, what's
And-
weird is the Linus and Charlie Brown's situations are completely different, though. Linus is planting his flag on some belief that he sincerely believes for some reason. He's going to stay out in the pumpkin patch every year until he sees the Great Pumpkin. Nobody can dissuade him. Charlie Brown He just wants to go as a ghost and get candy from going trick or treating. He just wants to
Yeah,
have a nice
that's right.
Halloween. He's just trying
Yeah.
to live
Yeah.
his goddamn life, and all he gets is rocks.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, another Halloween has come and gone. I got a bunch of rocks. Like, did he literally not get any candy? Did Charlie Brown not get any candy for
No,
Halloween?
Charlie Brown didn't get any candy. And you know
Oh
what's
my
really
God.
tough is when you think about Lucy, and this is really hard on Lucy because the way that they portray Lucy at the end and while she's trick or treating, it's like she's she's like a Cadbury egg or something. She's hardened on the outside but creamy and soft in the middle. And you're like, oh, she's got a because what does she do? She goes, may I have an extra piece of candy? And then she's like, for my dumbass brother
Right.
who's out in the
Yeah.
field.
Yeah.
And you kind of go, you know
She
what?
exposes him,
That's
all
a
right.
loving thing. Yeah, you're like, that's a loving thing for an older sister to do. But does
Mhm.
she give him the candy? And I'm
Oh,
thinking,
jeez.
no.
Yeah.
And at the very end, she goes out. She sets an alarm for 4 a.m.
Yeah.
because she knows how this is going to be because it happened the year
Yeah.
previously
Yep.
and years prior. Sets an alarm, goes out, gets him. He's in the pumpkin patch, and you're kind of like, oh, so really, Lucy loves her younger brother Linus, and she's
Mhm.
there. Like he would have died from the elements.
Yeah.
Been
I
eaten
guess
by a
had she
bear or
not gone
something.
out there.
Sure.
Yeah, but instead he's going to die from embarrassment and stress at the age of 28 and an unloving family, heart attack. Because she puts him in his bed, and I'm thinking like that's supposed to be the silver lining here,
Yeah.
where she takes care of her brother, but I'm not buying it.
I am buying it.
I am buying
And I
it.
don't think I'm a sucker. I'm not diving into a
Sap.
pile of leaves with a wet sucker. I think she does love. Yeah, I mean, I think you say she probably doesn't give him the candy. I bet she does give him the candy. She weeds out like a little bag of candy and tosses it. Here's your stupid candy, you blockhead.
Yeah,
for
there you
sitting down the pumpkin patch all night. And, like, she's a jerk to him constantly, but she does love him, and that's kind of how brothers and sisters work. And
But
she's not going to let him freeze overnight, and she'll give him grief. And
Yeah, I
you
forgot
know,
she
she'll go to
actually sets
college
an
and-
alarm. So it's very intentional.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah.
See, I think there's something funky going on. Like, I don't know, maybe, I don't know, like she'll get in trouble if he dies. And she's
You're
doing
right.
it
She
out
doesn't
of
want his
some...
blood on her hands.
Yeah, exactly. She's doing out
Yeah.
of some weird... I don't think it's some love or altruism. I think she's doing it... There's some self-serving thing that we're not seeing in that house. I don't know what it is. And she's only... She sets the alarm, and it's kind of like if they're on the military base, it's one of those, if one of the Marines dies, everybody's doing push-ups,
Oh.
and no one's graduating.
I'll take all your candy.
Yeah. Yeah. You're only as good in this town. You're only as good as your dumbest link, and that's Linus here.
Wow.
Jesus.
Rough.
You all right, Jerry?
Get it off your chest there, Jer. All right.
Yeah.
Well, and then it's a very strange way to end, and it has a very adult and a very dark turn at the credits, as you mentioned.
Yeah,
Pete.
Yeah,
that's
just
just
yelling
like-
at Charlie.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he's yelling at the universe. He's not. I don't even think that Charlie
Yeah.
Brown takes it personally at that point.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they all forgive Linus for being, a blockhead, pretty much.
Do they?
Yeah.
Do they? No, I
Okay,
think
guess
Sally
they don't.
sues.
Yeah, she's prostitution.
Sally does actually get pretty badly screwed over. I feel bad for Sally.
Yeah. She doesn't
She
have any
believes
candy.
in Linus.
She's- yeah.
See,
Yeah,
I
she
don't.
did not have a
I don't.
Halloween.
No,
Yeah, she
she's
had-
she does it completely under her own volition.
She's like 5 years
Yeah.
old. She's like a little
Yeah.
kid with hearts popping out of her head.
Well, it's true,
But
but,
then
she
just
also got
Believe in
good
some
advice
fun,
from the
some
others.
fun stuff.
She ignored it.
yes,
Yeah.
Her fault.
she ignored
They're
it.
all jaded. She took a chance and it
You
didn't
know,
work out. But I
you
feel
know what,
bad.
Tommy? Sometimes you got to scuff up your own shoes.
You take that to the
People
bank,
can,
Tommy.
people can yakety yak at you all the time, but you're not going to listen until you miss Halloween and all the candy. And you
I've
know
never
what?
missed Halloween.
You did, and because your brother is an infernal loser, he can give you a rock. He can't even share the candy. Yeah, he couldn't. He didn't even
Yeah.
say, "Can I get a
Give me my
rock?"
best rock.
Yeah, can I?
Yeah.
Can I get
For
a?
my stupid
Can I get a
sister.
rock for my dumb sister who's out in
God,
the
that would have been
pumpkin patch?
incredible. What if Charlie Brown was the slightest bit assertive like that? Like, thank you for the rock you just threw into my bag, but can I have another one for my kid's sister?
That's pretty funny.
Who's dumb and
Yeah,
out in the
yeah.
Well, see, I
Yeah.
had a note that my favorite part of this, the whole thing is at the very beginning when when Charlie Brown tells Lucy no.
Oh,
He goes, "Come on, Charlie Brown, I'll hold the ball, and this time you can kick it." And he goes, "No."
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
you're like, "Wow, an act of defiance."
Yeah.
that didn't work
And
out,
he's cocksure.
though. Yeah.
He's like, "No, I know exactly what's going to happen." And you're like, "Bam,
Mhm.
end of scene, end of cartoon. We're happy."
Not you though.
You know what we shouldn't
You're
forget
not happy.
either? So one thing we have to remember is Lucy is Charlie Brown's therapist at times.
Yeah.
He goes
But
to
she's
her
not
for,
even
for-
licensed.
for therapy. No, she's not licensed, but still, he doesn't know that.
I mean, but that's even more insidious.
Yeah.
My
It's like
it
your
seems like a conflict
therapist
of
is-
interest. Yes.
Yeah.
Ethical problem.
Yes.
My favorite scene is when Snoopy rises at the back of the pumpkin patch, and he makes this.
Oh, yeah.
"Ooh"
Yeah.
I don't know why I like it. I don't know what his
Is that-
motivation is.
Is that? Did I
You know what's crazy is Linus faints.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he
Sure
never
does.
really
Does-
knows the truth.
Does he faint or is it a stage faint? Because he faints, but then he immediately goes, "Ooh, did I faint?"
Ooh.
Like he's fainting on purpose for effect.
Right. Did you see me
Wow.
faint?
Who's he trying to impress? Sally, I guess.
Well, Sally, I
Yeah,
think he's trying to show his
Yeah.
religious fervor.
Yeah.
Chicks love it when you faint.
Yeah.
Nothing says family like fainting.
That's a great tie-in to our Superman Patreon episode.
Whee!
Oh man. Well, like Lucy with Linus, have we put this special to bed? See what I did?
Yeah.
Yeah, nicely done.
Yeah. Well, happy Halloween, guys.
Yeah,
Happy Halloween.
Yeah. Let's
Happy
roast up
Halloween,
our
Charlie
pumpkin
Brown.
seeds since they're not good for growing plants or anything. Let's and roast them and watch this special again and tell
I
ghost
still,
stories.
still hold this as happier than Rudolph.
Huh.
They're all pretty messed up. In the words of McIntyre Murphy, they're all pretty bad.
It's fun. It's a lot of fun watching it. I'll say that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
it is.
yeah.
And there is
Absolutely.
I don't know what the magic is, but it's in there somewhere. Like it's a whole bag
Yeah.
of rocks and one Charleston chew.
Yeah.
Halloween is a weird holiday because it is just about like kind of getting candy. Like you get dressed up and you just kind of roam around town like you're a weirdo and you get candy for free. It's not like a religious thing. It's not like a national thing. It's just like, all it is about kids getting candy and stuff. So to have a special about it, it kind of makes sense in a way that it just goes to some weird places and ends
Oh,
up
yeah.
like, oh my God, did anybody have a nice Halloween in the special?
But
Everything's
it's
gonna be
also
okay.
the one night of the year that you can be anybody you want, no matter
Yeah.
who you are in real life. And unfortunately, for Charlie Brown,
Oh, yeah.
that
Yeah.
didn't work.
Well, and,
No.
and he even ruins it because he ruined
Yeah.
his costume.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
Cut
looks
all the
like
holes in
he's,
his
Had
he's
some
like a
trouble with the
Holstein
scissors.
ghost.
Holstein.
Yeah.
But it is. I Halloween is essentially a religious holiday, right?
Right?
I mean, it's a budded
Yeah.
All Saints Day.
No, what? No,
Yeah.
no, no.
No wonder it's so weird.
It's a pagan.
Yeah.
That's why we get the day off.
Oh well, yeah, of course. Well, all religious holidays are pagan holidays.
All
Come on,
right.
let's go on the pumpkin patch, everybody.
Dun, 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 dun,
I call Druid.
Well, I guess all we have left to say is happy Halloween, everybody. We hope
Happy
you enjoyed
Halloween,
this
everybody.
this random
Happy
mayhem that we
Halloween,
offered.
everybody.
And yeah, we'll be back one of these days with what's that other one? Crystal Skull, Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. We'll be back with that. What's better to say? Eventually, or one of these days? Which
No,
sounds
one of these
more
days.
optimistic.
It's
Okay,
not
one of these days. One of these days
eventually.
we'll be back. Well, that's what I'm. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
One day.
Inevitably.
One day. One day.
Inevitable.
Yeah.
But in the
Before,
meantime, we're
In the
still
meantime-
around.
we are still around. You should, if you're new to the show, if you just stumbled upon us because we're talking about the Great Pumpkin and not that weirdo Indiana Jones, check us out. Our whole back catalog. We've covered Raiders and Temple of Doom and Last Crusade. And you can find us on iTunes. You can rate us and review us and subscribe over there. And you can find us on IndianaJonesMinute.com for all our back episodes. And you can join our Facebook group, Indiana Jones Minute and the Listeners Crusade.
Oh, and we're
It's a lot
ever
of
so
fun
nice.
people over there having a lot of fun.
Nice group.
And they are ever so nice. It's a good group of people. And a lot of those people are over at our Patreon page, patreon.com/Indiana Jones Minute, where you can support the show and get other bonus episodes every couple of weeks until the end of time.
About all kinds of fun
there.
things.
Yeah, we covered Jaws, we've covered Close Encounters, E.T., some indie
Superman.
comics. We're talking about Superman these days. It's a lot of fun. And please check us out anywhere and everywhere you can.
Oh, and if you're worried about when are they coming back, I want to be the first one to hear them when they come back. If you join our Patreon, you'll get to hear us a little bit earlier.
That's right. That's just one of the many perks you get for supporting the show over there and becoming a Patreon member. Early access to our shows. You can get postcards from us. You can get all sorts of stuff. It's a lot of fun. Trust me. It's better than a bag of rocks.
We get rocks.
That's what we're here to say.
Unless you're
Anyway.
a geologist.
Yeah. But happy Halloween, everybody. Stay safe. And trick or treat. And what else do you say on Halloween?
Tricks or treats.
Tricks or treats.
Yeah. How many of each?
Tricks or treats.
Sign here.
It's a long way to
Tipperary.